Hello, everybody. This is Colonel Steve Akley here at my place, the ABV Barrel Shop in suburban St. Louis, and we're going to be talking today about a fun topic. Who are the most important 10 people in the history of Maker's Mark, ranked number 1 being the most important, down to number 10. So this is a fun thing. I think there are 10 key individuals that make that company, the company that we love today, the icon that it is. And while there's certainly other people that contributed, there's always a whole team that's going to make you successful. These people are standouts within the Maker's Mark organization. Number 1, you got to go to a family member. And I think that the most important individual in the history of this brand is Marge Samuels. Marge really made everything that makes Makers iconic. She's the one that kind of started all this stuff. The style of the bottle, she designed that. And it gives it a unique look. You can take off all the packaging, all the labels, the red wax stripping off. You can take all that off and say, what is this bottle? What brand is this? And almost every single bourbon fan will know it's Maker's Mark. Many people that don't even drink bourbon will probably even guess that it's Maker's Mark. It's that iconic for sure. But then she also did the dripping red wax. That was her thing. She also, did the labels. They've got the labels have a very unique look. She created that and designed that. She was also very important in tourism, getting people to come out to the distillery where they then become loyal fans because they've experienced the whiskey, not just drank it, but they've experienced it. And she was a trailblazer when it comes to all that stuff. And I think she's the most important person in the history of that brand. Number 2 is her son, Bill Samuels Jr. So I think that, again, because he did the things, he was the one who orchestrated the Wall Street Journal article that leads to them getting national publicity, national press, that grows from a small regional brand to something that people start asking for across the United States. The brand blows up because of him. If it wasn't because of his work, not only doing that, but just serving as the president for so many years, and when he retired, it was shocking to me. And it kind of leads me to where I'm at today. Because I felt like Bill Samuels, I was like, there's still juice in the tank. You've got more time here. There's more things you could do. That's what I felt as a consumer. And hopefully people feel about me a little bit as I get ready to retire from some of the bourbon stuff that I'm doing. He's continued on in the bourbon industry, just like I want to continue on in the bourbon industry, but he's this great ambassador for not only his brand, but for the industry in general. And he's done a lot of cool things, like being part of the Bourbon Capital Alliance and all kinds of cool stuff. He continues to be a big part of the bourbon industry, despite the fact he's been retired for, 20 years plus now. And he's the one that really helped it grow from the small brand to the big iconic brand we know today. Number 3 is the dad, Bill Samuels Sr. So Bill Samuel Jr.'s father, Marge's husband, the guy who kind of came up with the idea, and it was a family business that he wanted to continue on. They had gotten out of the business. He wanted to get back in the business, and so he helped start this thing. Worked hard to formulate it. It worked with Marge, of course. She's the one baking the bread that with the different grains in there, where he decides that the wheat is the most delicious one. He's incredibly important, just as the founder for sure, and he is the 3rd most important person in the history of that brand. Number 4, the final family member that we're going to be talking about, Rob Samuels. Rob is Bill Samuels Jr.'s son. And he's the guy that has taken over when Bill did that early retirement that I didn't see coming. And he's done a great job of continuing the brand forward, to continue the global reach, to put his own mark on things. You go there, and a lot of that stuff is Rob Samuels today, with the way the distillery looks and the art installations and the cool restaurant, and all those things are Rob Samuels pushing for those things. You might say, well, it's a global brand owned by a company out of Japan. I get it. But you know what? He's the one that's pushing for these things. If you just roll over and try to stay out of their way, and you're not fighting the owners and pushing for your company, and that's what he has to do, they're going to kind of just let things go as is. But, he makes sure that the brand is still relevant. His job might be harder than any of the previous family members, dealing with, only being under a corporate structure. And I think he does an incredible job. So Rob is number 4 on the list. Number 5 on the list, I had to give this one to Sam Cecil because he was the longest tenured master distiller there, 25 years. So 1955 to 1980. I thought, when you do 25 years representing the brand and kind of taking it from basically a startup, and again, there's someone that really was truly the startup distiller, but from taking it from the very early days all the way through the buildup of the brand. In 1980 is when he retired. He did a long time, making the whiskey and making sure that that place continued on. So he is number 5 on my list. Number 6 was the original distiller there, Elmo Beam, part of the Beam family. A lot of the bourbon industry is intertwined, and there's a lot of Beams out there, and they all have to have jobs, and not all of them can work for Jim Beam. So Elmo Beam, one of those industry icons from the Beam family. He worked as the master distiller, the one that was involved with creating the original mash bill, the one that was making the original whiskey, 1953 to 1955. So not a long career, but you know what? When you're there at the beginning, you're going to be pretty important in the history of a brand, because if you're making bad whiskey from the beginning, you're probably not going to make it. So you got to give Elmo credit for that, and he's next on our list. Coming in at number 7 is Dave Pickerel. Dave Pickerel, I don't know if people remember this or not at this point, but he was the master distiller for Jim Beam, and actually a pretty long time, 94 to 08. But what is really a testament to what happened during his tenure, and again, he was a promoter, he would wear costumes, he would help with press conferences and all that kind of stuff. If you're really into Maker's Mark, you know that Dave was an important part of that. He should be in the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame. He's not, because he had a whole career of consulting after that, and I don't know what sort of terms he left Maker's Mark on. Sometimes it doesn't have to be bad terms, but if you take them by surprise, they think you're just always going to work there, and then you go on to do something else, your own company. I don't know, maybe they're like, oh, well, you've moved on and we've moved on. And, they never advocated to get him in, and he's not in the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame. That should be corrected at some point, and hopefully it is. I don't know, someday maybe I'll be banging that drum. We'll see what happens. But Pickerel was important, and really important in the history of Maker's Mark, because during his tenure, they went from 175,000 cases a year, which is a small regionalized brand that's getting some national distribution, but not a huge player by any means, to 1 million cases by the time that he left. So that's explosive growth, and really a testament to some of the great work that he was doing there. The person prior to him, 1988 to 03, who is a Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Famer, Steve Akley. And he is definitely one of the all-time greats. He comes in at number 8 on the 8 most important Maker's Mark staff members. Number 9, this is a fun one, because again, when we're talking about growing the brand as a global presence, Rob Samuels is the boss, the guy that's leading that, but the person out in the field, Jane Bowie. Jane Bowie is the one that's out helping that and helping grow that brand, and she played an important role. And of course, she was in, new product innovation and things like that. Whereas Maker's Mark was always just one product for a long time. As they began to start innovating, they pull her from the global perspective into the office, and she helped make some of the key things that, again, are the Maker's Mark that we know in 2026, not necessarily the one that was out there in 1950 to 1980 or whatever. She helped really make it a modern global brand that really has done amazing things. The last one on the list is Jane's co-conspirator, her partner in crime, the one that she has the Potter Jane Distillery with, Denny Potter. Again, a great master distiller for sure, and the distiller behind all those great innovations. Again, moving it from, hey, we just have this one thing, to, hey, we have a second thing, the third. They did all these amazing things just utilizing one mash bill. That's an incredible testament to Denny's work, Jane's creativeness, them working together to come up with these things. Working with ISC to get the staves for that whole program that they do, where they build the cave and they age it in the cave and all that kind of cool stuff comes from the combo of Jane and Denny working together under the leadership of Rob, and that makes Denny the 10th most important person. So that's my list, the top 10 most important people in the history of Maker's Mark. What do you think? Did I leave anybody off? Would you switch the list around at all? Let's talk about it in the discussion in this video.